This Bond joke,
Fill this one with Bond.
I love it.
All those feathers and he still can't fly.
I love that.
That ragdoll can't fly?
What?
Yeah.
The
When he
ragdoll can't fly?
ragdolls off the cliff.
Yeah, the ragdoll. So he just dropped in for a quick bite. Whatever, who cares? Throwaway line. What's kind of funny though is that after Stromberg has been taken out, Triple X is like,
Stromberg?
Dead.
Bond just says, "Oh, he's dead." He doesn't say a joke. He's just like, he's dead. You know, he didn't say like, he sleeps with the fishes.
It doesn't fall under your category, Charlie, but I love this joke when at the very beginning.
Moneypenny, where's 007?
He's on a mission, sir, in Austria.
Well, tell him to pull out. Immediately.
Then just flashes to him and he's in a
Yeah.
girl.
That's just like, there's a lot
Perfect.
of
There's a
sexual
lot of
humor,
good
you know,
quips, yeah.
but like a Bond joke is typically he murders a dude and then he's making a joke about it, as opposed to Bond makes sexual jokes all the time.
Yeah.
And, you know, like even with Naomi, who is probably the hottest Bond chick so far. She does it for me, but he's like,
What a handsome craft. Such lovely lines.
Bond's making those jokes all the time, but that's not a Bond joke.
Yeah.
In my definition, in my list, I don't care about those jokes are funny, but I don't care about them.
You know, the last movie had this big duel and all this shit. And
Dick
this
shot.
movie, it's like we have
It just shoots
essentially
him
like
through
a
the tube thing.
we
dick
essentially
shots.
have a dick shot, yeah, but we essentially have a
Two dick
Blofeld
shots.
like esque villain who, by the way, it's like if you don't see it or if you blink, you'll miss it kind of thing. Is he has fucking fish fingers? He has fish
I
hands.
didn't realize it throughout the whole movie.
If you watch very closely, he has fish hands.
Really?
And apparently that's why he doesn't want to shake hands.
Mr. Stromberg prefers not to shake hands.
He's a dolphumanoid?
He's the dolphumanoid in this
He's
movie.
the
If you watch very closely, he has fish hands when
It's
he's touching
perfect.
Agent X or Triple X.
That's great.
If you look closely. But I was going to say is when he's shooting, when Bond kills him, it reminded me when you guys were talking about it, Dr. No, how he kills that one guy. And he like pops him like 6 times or whatever. He like shoots him.
Stromberg's
and then
death is
shoots
great.
him.
Like the
Murders
death
him.
performance is
He
great.
just pops him 4
Salad
times.
on the face. Just
Yeah, it reminded me of in the Godfather spoof when the guy gets shot in the head and he's still eating spaghetti.
Yeah.
And then he dies. Like he's like his face is in his food and he's like, you know, like his death performance is great. But don't you wish it was a little more fitting? Even at
I
one
disliked
point,
it, 'cause
he
it was a
says
little goofy.
he's like,
There's beauty. There's ugliness. And there's death.
and he points at a shark. Wouldn't it be great if he was eaten by his own shark? Like, wouldn't that be a more fitting death? You know, I know that Atlantis is above the water at the end, but wouldn't it be fun if right when Bond got on, Atlantis went underwater to where the submarine, which is underwater, could be, you know, looking at it or whatever. And then, you know, that would have meant they would have had to build a miniature underwater, and maybe that was tough. But, like, wouldn't it have been more fitting had Bond cause the windows around his little dinner table to break and then allow the shark to come in and eat the guy? Like, wouldn't that have been a little more fun and totally fitting as opposed to just capping him while he sat there like the fat ass that he is?
Yeah.
You know?
Maybe they ran out of time?
the windows that are around him aren't they're the shark tank though. They're just the exterior of the base.
Then let him drown.
Tank's
Let
in the
the
center.
water
Yeah.
come in and he drowns as Bond escapes.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
just something more
Then
fitting
where
than
does
just like
Bond
getting
go,
shot in
though?
the fucking face. You know,
I do feel though, I think the reason why they didn't go that route may have to do with just the actor's age, and they couldn't do as much physical stuff as they wanted to. With
they couldn't
like,
get him a stunt
you
guy. I
know-
mean, I get that.
I
but
mean,
like,
yeah, but
get
I
him
mean-
a stunt guy.
And also on top of that, I think that in the original script, it was that Jaws was going to get eaten by the shark instead of Jaws surviving at the end of the film like he does, because he but based off screen tests, they were like, oh, we love this guy, like we want to
Yeah.
bring him back. So
Yeah.
they,
I mean, and that's a good
that was
call.
how he was supposed to get killed, but then they
Yeah.
didn't do that. But I don't disagree with you. I could see like it could have been a much more fitting end, but
I mean, imagine
He-
the
he
line
wasn't the
Bond could have
strongest villain
had. He
either.
could have had his death line where he's like, well, Stromberg, now you get your life under the sea or whatever the like.
Yeah.
Now now you get to live under the water like you always wanted to. And then the water's rushing in and he's like, oh, I'm too fat. And he can't get out. And he drowns while Bond escapes. And then it makes sense that they get into the little escape pod thing because they're already underwater. It's like, how do we get off this place? And like, sure, maybe it was too expensive. Maybe it was just too much work or whatever. But that's the whole thing, right? Like, shouldn't he have a fitting death? I mean, we talked about this last time. Like, bad guys should have a fitting death. Remember, dude farting his way up to the ceiling as a balloon and exploding
like that.
is terrible.
Yeah.
A fitting death is always fun and complete. And with this one, it's just like, how about we just shoot him in the fucking face?
Stromberg?
Dead.
Mm-hmm.